Hello, I'm Ronnie Eldridge. Welcome to Eldridge and Company. Every time something momentous happens in the world, I think of Bella Abzug and wonder what she would say and do. If you don't know who Bella was or what she did, her daughter, Liz Abzug, an attorney, professor, and founder executive director of the Bella Abzug Leadership Institute, and I are going to tell you. Remembering her voice will help us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Ronnie.
So, should we just start right away? What would she be doing?
She would be calling for, honestly, Trump's impeachment. Right off the bat. She did this when she was first elected to Congress, as you know, in 1970 for Nixon.
Right.
She would be rallying the troops inside the Congress and the grassroots activists. She would have been speaking at the big Women's March in Washington, saying, don't just agonize, organize actively. Let's really try to fight back in the resistance and just grow this resistance.
I think she also would have been looking for some way to find out about his business.
You bet.
Because she was a great investigator.
She was a great lawyer and a great investigator.
Great lawyer.
Right.
And so smart.
That's
and
right.
She always went to the heart of something.
That's very true.
So let's talk about her. She grew up in the Bronx?
Yes, the Bronx.
And
poor area of the Bronx.
In what area?
A very poor area at that time in the Bronx.
And her father,
Avenue.
Her father was a butcher.
He was a butcher. He owned the Live and Let Live meat market on 39th and 9th in the city in Manhattan.
I wonder what the animal people would say about the butcher.
Very strange. He had guilt to have a butcher shop.
And she went to Hunter College.
She went to Hunter College.
And then she went to Columbia Law School.
On a full scholarship.
And then she was the chief, what do you call it, of the Review. She was the editor.
Editor of Law Review.
Right.
Yes.
Right. And then she became a lawyer.
And she got married in her second year of law school to my dad, who you knew well.
And they met on a bus going to a concert.
A concert in Miami Beach.
Yeah.
Yep.
And she was beautiful. I wanted to bring her book, and I forgot to, but maybe we can get a picture. She was just a beautiful woman.
Yeah, she was.
So she said that she was a young lawyer. She'd go to another lawyer's office, and she said they would say, sit over here, let's wait for the lawyer. So she decided to wear a hat. And she got to like that hat.
And she not only wore the hat, but at the time in the 40s, women were wearing gloves, like Eleanor Roosevelt. But she says, I took off the gloves, kept the hat, took off the boxing gloves, and I always just say to her, it's what's under that hat that counts.
And she had her dear friend who used to make her hats.
That's right.
So it was all a whole great thing.
Yes.
And she was a civil rights lawyer. And when she was pregnant, was it with you or E.G.?
No, in between me and my sister.
So she had two daughters,
right.
you're the youngest.
Right. Yes.
How was it when you were growing up with her? You were living in Mount Vernon at the beginning. Do you remember that at all?
Very well, very well.
And she got involved in?
The integration, civil rights movement, integrating the schools. Mount Vernon was one of the first bedroom communities 25 minutes outside of the city that was integrated, black, white, working class, middle class, Italians. And she fought very hard with my father to integrate the schools. It was also the movement at that point in the 50s that, as you well know, being a part of it, that was an anti-nuclear testing movement, and she got very involved in that.
Right.
Growing up with her was not always easy, obviously, because she was such a force, and sometimes my sister, who's older, and I would just sort of lay back and get embarrassed. We were kids, and like, ooh, because these people would say, who's that big woman coming in here? It's with such a loud voice.
And she would stride.
And she would stride, and people noticed her. But you know what? I learned early that she was doing something right, even when I was a kid and didn't fully understand. I figured out that she was fighting for justice. I mean, she would talk about it in the house and with my father. And so I realized, you know what? Somehow she's doing the right thing.
Yeah, it must have been.
Very tough.
Yeah.
I mean, when we were older and I was in law school and college, it was not easier either. I was always, the expectation level was so high. And when we used to go to the theater here, my father and mother, we were big theater people and movie people. People would applaud her. You go into the theater and, they would applaud her. And that was a bit much for my sister and I, because it was kind of like, really?
I know when I married Jimmy Breslin and he took off on somebody, I would always go down.
That's exactly.
So I was lacing my shoes.
Exactly. It was sort of hid, under the seats kind of a bit.
We were in Puerto Rico with Bella after she was elected, but before she was in the Congress, and we're on the beach, and somebody comes up and says, "Are you her?"
Exactly.
So that was it. But she then was one of the founders of Women's Strike for Peace.
Yes, she was.
Which was really one of the earliest, after the Civil Rights Movement, of organizing to
Yes.
really go after something.
And organizing women who, many of whom had never gotten involved before, who were housewives or who were not politically active, even if they were professionals. And it was a national organization,
Yeah.
which really fought against, nuclear testing, that fought against war, the idea of war, that women and mothers, women always lead the movements of social justice, and that was the premise of it.
What was so interesting about her was that she was such a strategist.
Yes, she was.
I first met her when she was the chair of the 17th Congressional District Peace Action Committee.
That's right.
Now, this was a group she formed,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
With some of her friends.
Right.
It had, nobody ever heard of it before. And it was there, and this was during the Vietnam War, and they insisted on interviewing every candidate
That's
and so
right.
they could endorse them.
That's right.
And that
On a
even-
peace platform, right?
Yeah,
Looking
right,
for that,
right.
looking for their
It
stand.
was quite amazing.
Yeah, it was.
And then she and I worked together on the presidential election about,
Yep.
are you against the, the war and anything
Yes.
else? But she had that strategic ability. She had the ability, nothing fazed her, right?
That's
So she
right.
was up there in the
That's
front.
right.
And then she just was very smart.
Right. And
So-
like I tell my students, and like we talk today among young feminists, I talk with my students at college and whatever, you have to have the strategic, you have to have the intelligence, you have to have the strategic insight, and you have to have the power to fight, the commitment and power to fight for justice.
Right.
And never give up on that. And she had that combination,
Yeah.
which is an unusual combination.
Right,
in a
she
leader.
always had a base.
That's right.
She always organized to be sure of base, even
Right.
though sometimes the grassroots, we talked about the weeds.
Yes.
It was
Yeah,
there, right?
exactly.
And she had a great sense of humor.
Yes, she
which
had a
was the
great sense of
saving
humor, and she
grace.
was charming.
Yeah.
You know that in
Oh,
the
yes,
Congress,
totally.
even the most conservative Republicans in the South got charmed by her charm because
Right.
she would know how to sway them into supporting her legislation.
So she ran for Congress.
Yes.
She defeated the incumbent congressman who had several, well, I know three people, Bentley Cassell, Haddad.
Right.
And then, and Ted Weiss.
Right,
Right.
right.
And she won.
That's right.
And
won.
she goes to Congress.
First time which she ran, she won the first time she ran for Congress and won in 1970. She was 50 years old.
And Nixon was the president.
Nixon was the president.
And the first thing she did was put a resolution in to withdraw the troops from
That's
Vietnam.
correct. And called for
First
the
thing.
first thing and stood on the steps of the Capitol
Oh, right. That's very important.
and called for President Nixon's impeachment because of his escalation of
No,
the war.
but she also got sworn in, and then she stood on the steps of the Capitol
Correct.
and had her own people come
Yep,
in and
that's
swear
correct.
her in.
That's correct.
So there she was with her base
That's right.
going into Congress.
That's right.
And they knew she had a base.
And a base and excitement and passionate people who followed her passion and her sense of justice and her platform.
Right.
Because she was a person of the people and related as a leader to listening to what the concerns were of her constituents, but also knowing how to work the system procedurally, like you said, strategically.
So she was, was it Time magazine that said she was the third most powerful woman?
U.S. News and World and Report.
U.S. News. As the freshman congressman.
That's right.
They said she was the third most powerful person. She wanted to go on the Armed Forces Committee, but they
Yeah.
didn't put her in.
Exactly.
But she went to Washington, and she said she went there to what? Break up the power thing.
That's correct.
That reminds us of somebody else, unfortunately.
Yes, it does.
But
Yes, it
she
does.
had a different morality
Yes,
about it.
Yes.
And a
yes.
different concept of government, right?
That's right.
Right. So what would she do now?
So now she would be organizing, she'd be, you're right, investigating, trying to investigate Trump's business affairs, Trump's connections to foreign governments. She would be organizing women, the feminist movement, as we organized ourselves just recently. You were at, I was at the worldwide marches, women's marches that took place in 625 locales across the
Right.
you know,
She was
world.
one of the founders of the Women's Political Caucus.
She was one of the founders of the National Women's Political Caucus. She was one of the preeminent leaders of the
Yeah.
20th century feminist movement,
Right. Yeah.
And people would listen, men and women, old and young, because she had the fire. She had the smarts, the fire, and stuck to the issues that really affected the everyday person, and spoke to those issues of really, creating an equal world. I mean, she grew up with Russian immigrants, and they believed you have to, fight for a sense of justice when they came to this country and make it equal, try to have everybody have equal access. And that was very inbred in her system,
Yeah.
in her
And
body,
she-
in her
and
life.
And she worked. she worked very hard.
Yeah, she did.
But she also had she's a great dancer.
Yeah, great
as you
dancer.
Said, theater. Fun.
She loved swimming. She loved playing poker into the middle of the night.
Yeah, right. It was really.
And she did that till the end of her life, actually.
And people loved her or they didn't like her.
That's right. That's right.
It was.
But even if oftentimes, if they didn't like her, they did respect her intelligence. There were some, of course, who just hated her strength and her, being a woman in politics.
And her manner, because she was very assertive.
Forceful, assertive, aggressive.
Right.
Very, same kinds of terminology, words used against Hillary. But my mother, that was 40 some odd years ago.
Right.
And yet many, even if they just did not agree with her, saw her intelligence. I mean, I had to admit to that. And her homework in terms of procedure and strategy when she was in the Congress, you had to admit that she did it.
She went and learned all the rules.
That's right.
Most people, I think, go to Congress with no idea what the procedures are.
Exactly.
But she was the person, I mean, she was second to the guy who was the consultant, whoever, what do you call him?
You mean the House Speaker?
No, I don't mean the Speaker. I mean the person who does their rulings about. I don't know what you call him.
Pro tem.
Right.
Yeah.
But Tip O'Neill loved her.
Yes, he did. The House Speaker.
Yeah.
In fact,
This Irish politician.
Irish politician from Boston, who had a lot of power in the Congress and made her a majority whip, actually, in the end of her first term under him. So again, the respect, and also the Southerners liked her sense of humor. The Southern congressmen mostly loved her sense of humor. As you said, she has a great sense of humor.
And her charm.
Yeah.
So she,
tough.
Her first term, where they say she's the third most important, the New York State legislature reapportions and knocks her district out.
That's right.
And they wanted her to run in Brooklyn, but she wanted to run where she was. And unfortunately, she ran against an incumbent reformer.
Correct.
Who was never, ever as active as she was, but who had everybody's loyalty.
Right. And that was actually the end of the second term.
It was the end of the second term?
Yeah. Meaning, 2 years, 4 years
she had
into
4 years
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
All right. So then, and everybody knew he was sick, but he was running.
Right.
And he won the primary.
Right.
And then he died.
Yes.
And then his widow ran.
That's right.
And Bella won.
That's right.
And then she wanted to go for the Senate.
Correct. She left a safe seat in 1976 in her third term, in the House.
Did you want her to do that?
I did.
You did?
I was one in the camp to do it.
Yeah, I didn't want her to do it. I thought she was a very important person in the House.
I know, many people felt that, but yet she lost by 1 percentage point to Daniel Moynihan.
Yeah.
And it was, we're talking 10,000 votes statewide. Yeah. So her idea to become one of the first women in the Senate, United States Senate, was right.
And there was a third candidate, Ramsey Clark.
There were four. Paul O'Dwyer.
Oh, Bill O'Dwyer.
Yeah, Paul, yeah.
Both of them, you couldn't talk to them.
No.
They were not like Bella.
That's right.
They were not strategic politicians.
Right. That's correct.
Although everybody had the same goals and wanted things.
That's right.
It's really interesting when you think about it.
But if either O'Dwyer or Ramsey Clark had realized, we have to elect this Democrat, she would have won.
Right. Yeah. We tried to get her.
I know you did.
Yeah.
I know you did.
It was too bad.
And then the very next year, 76, she ran for Senate, and the next year she runs for mayor of New York City.
Right.
I mean, who does that? Runs successive terms for re-election to Congress, then goes out and resigns Congress to run the United States Senate, a woman in the 70s, and then after losing that, the next year she runs for mayor. I mean, really, of New York City.
Well, I kept trying to say to her, Bella, it's hard to have a profession that depends on thousands and thousands of people.
Yes, you're right.
It was really difficult.
It's true.
And but that was her drive.
That was her drive.
That's what I always think there are lots of people who are good painters, but it's the artist who really, that's
passion.
all. Yeah.
The passion.
It's the passion and the drive.
And the drive.
All right.
And never giving in and never giving up.
Yeah, yeah. So what are you doing? I mean, you're also a great strategist.
Thank you very much, Ronnie.
And
so are you.
And a strong advocate.
Yes, thanks.
So what should we do now?
Well, when I say, I created this institute as a living legacy to Mom's work, but also to galvanize the current and next generation of young women to assume the positions of top leadership in politics, in the private sector, the public sector, and to inspire them. Most of them are young women of color, many of whom are incredibly talented, underserved schools, some of the best schools and most underserved public schools in New York City. We trained 1,800 girls at this point. And what I did there with that is to try to say, you need to finish the next phase to achieve true gender equality. You need to incorporate your boyfriends, your fathers, your brothers into this movement. You need to fire it up. We need to ignite your fire, but you need some guidance from us. And then you speak to feminism and you speak to gender equality in your own terms, on your own terms, in your own words. And the reason is that I wanted to bridge the gap now, between the second wave, the third wave, and the current young women who have to be educated really about how we got to where we are with our rights today. The thing that's so amazing, and you were there, is that this women's march that took place in Washington, in all the cities, major cities in New York and around the world, is the first time in many, many years since, I guess, the second wave of the movement in the 70s that I felt that women, men of all ages, babies all the way up to every age, really participated in a fight for gender equality and to protest the incoming President Trump, and to say that we need to fight for equality. The fight is not over. We need to organize and resist some of these policies that are coming right out of the Trump administration in the first week, that even came prior to his inauguration.
So how do you combine it, not just with women and equality, but justice in the world?
Well, yeah.
Does that go along with feminism?
I believe it should, and it needs to. And we try to combine that in my work with the students, with the the BALI girls, as we call them, because you need to understand the issues of, in order to achieve equality, every movement builds on one another. So the civil rights built the movement, then the anti-war movement, then the feminist movement, then the LGBTQI movement. And so I want to convey that to the young women and to young men who work with us, that this is a social justice interplay, and that until we all reach our equality, that nobody is truly free, like many people have said, including President Obama. I mean, and that's what it's about. And we right now, in the sadness of some of the horrible executive orders that this president is coming out with in the first 10 days of his administration, I think that has refired up the sense of having the justice and a protest movement, as you well know. You were at the Women's March, I was at the Women's March, but it's broader than that. And I think that it is ridiculous after 90 some odd years, 5 years after women won the right to vote, that we, as women, are still not in the United States Constitution because there's no Equal Rights Amendment that has passed. How insane is that?
Yeah, it is. And along with the feminists and the power of women goes along, underlining it is respect for everybody.
That's correct.
We're all people who have intelligence.
That's right.
It's respect.
It's respect, and it's equality. You reach gender equality for men and women, and you create a better society, better families, better quality of lives. When we look at the Nordic countries and all the countries that have had women prime ministers and presidents, but particularly the Scandinavian countries in terms of parental leave, it's not maternity leave, it's parental leave.
Right.
And that's what we need here. And my God, we have so many, I tell my students, both at college and the high school, middle school girls, we have so many critical problems in this world, environment, the poverty, food security. We need to be able to understand how you share and how you work collectively to achieve peace and security.
That basic to all of this also, one of the biggest things is women's health care.
That's right. That's right.
And women's right to their own body.
Correct.
When you look at these men, white-haired, I shouldn't say that now.
Don't say
how
that.
old I am.
Right.
But these men who want to tell us what we can do with our own body.
Outrageous.
It is.
Outrageous. And
that's one of the reasons that's such a basic issue.
Yes, it is. Of the women's movement, of right to health, and with Trump and this Congress talking about cutting back Planned Parenthood.
And no family planning.
And no family planning.
But no child care.
Exactly.
No child leave.
We never, in the 70s, they tried to get a child care bill passed. My mother, Shirley Chisholm, a bunch of the progressive women who were congresswomen, and they came close, daycare, child care, and they didn't make it. Okay, here we are 45 years later. We're still talking about it.
And we're back I think we're the most advanced country in the world with one of the worst records.
That's correct.
So there is, it's a built-in system that women are not equal.
Right. It's a structural problem. It's a structural discriminatory. We have such structural problem in terms of discrimination against women, but we also have cultural, as you well know, until we break the cultural stereotypes down, and start at the youngest ages, which what we do, we try to do, and schools need to be better at that, public schools need to be better at that, then we're not going to change the mindset deeply.
We need children who grow up with respect and interest, with not even noticing the difference
And
between
you know
people.
what? It's interesting. Now we see the
think
children
they
growing
are.
up. They are because
Yeah.
of gay marriage.
Right.
There's so many young kids who are growing up and saying, oh, I have two mommies, two daddies, and now with gay marriage, it's
Yeah.
becoming more the norm for
Right.
them to see that.
And also with the immigration, you see,
Yeah.
I mean, there is not the same difference. It becomes economic more
Yes,
than racial.
yeah, that's correct.
Right.
It is class and
Yeah,
economics, yeah.
So you also teach at Barnard.
Yes, I
College.
teach at Barnard and Columbia, and I
Yeah.
teach
Oh.
urban studies all about cities and community development, community building, and poverty.
Because
And
that's that was an important part of your background.
Exactly. And I am so proud now to see the students, again, you know, in different stages in the last, 20 years, really understand that they need to be part of a social justice movement for the most part. That has not been the case for the last 10 years. You have waves of, students in college saying, I gotta go out and make money, and of course we'll always have that. But
you
now,
see it's really changing.
I see right now in the last couple of years, people want to work in the communities, they want to work in NGOs and not-for-profits. They really want to be entrepreneurial, start up their own businesses, but with a social justice, a lot of them with being socially responsible about it. And that is very heartening to me to see that. You don't always see that. I haven't always seen that in the 19, 20 years I'm teaching up there. But right now we're in a good period, and we need that fire and energy.
And this administration is running totally against that.
That's right. That's
With
right.
a cabinet of millionaires.
Millionaires, mostly all white men. And we say, as you well know, we have to have women at the seats in power,
Right.
at the table, right?
And look at the
And
education.
Look at the education, look at the situation. You see mostly white men, millionaires, sitting at the tables of power. We are going back with this president in time, and I'm sure you'll agree, to times pre-1950s. And it's scary, as we all know, and it's scary for...
I don't think we've ever seen anything like this, actually.
Exactly.
I really don't.
I agree. It's an
Yeah.
authoritarian approach, like we've seen in some foreign countries, of running the government, and with no thought, with issuing executive orders, with no power behind it, and no prepping the Congress
No
about
coordination
it. No
with agencies.
coordination.
The disdain they have for people.
That's right. They don't care.
They-
He doesn't care. He doesn't seem to care about the human condition of Americans and the quality of life.
Or about the world. Look
And,
at I mean,
and immigrants, what he's just pulled, just this week, it is outrageous.
and the embassies who have no top people in them because he's fired,
Right.
not renewed their...
And most recently, just yesterday, fired the acting attorney general because she refused to implement his
Weren't you
immigration
proud of
ban.
her?
I was. That was like
And
a
you know,
Bella move.
two of the other judge, I guess,
Yeah.
on Saturday night
Yep.
were women.
That's right.
Two
From-
of the
one
three
was from
decisions.
Brooklyn. I
Right.
know,
The
I
only
know.
one was from
That's
Seattle.
right.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Wasn't that interesting?
I
also?
loved it. I loved it. We're used to rough and tumble. And by the way, I'm so pleased when I see my young men in college and some of the young men I work with for BALI understanding now. What's the big deal? Okay, I'll even call myself a feminist for those who resisted it before. And they really do see it now. It's
Yeah.
more and more.
Do
Less
we-
threatened.
Do we still have that conflict about calling yourself a feminist?
Yeah, there's unfortunately, it is now sort of going down in the conflict department. But yes, up until people still are very skittish about that word. Young people. I mean, there is a percentage of young people that are.
Does it all come down also to political action?
Yep.
And does that mean the political parties?
Yes.
That we have to be practical politicians?
Yes, always. And right now, there's not a lot of ideology, progressive ideology, as we were talking about, in political parties on either side.
You're going to have to come back because we're going to have to talk about that. I mean, it is unbelievable.
Yeah.
And to talk about openness when we have no idea
Yeah.
how the next leader of the party is going to be
Exactly.
elected. It's
Exactly.
really
My
incredible.
mother, you might recall, it was her bill, which was the Freedom of Information Act, which has created the Sunshine Law.
That was her bill?
That was her bill in Congress, okay? The secrecy, and it was just for that, to open up the secrecy of, international, national agencies at first. That's why she authored it. Because of the kinds of things that leaders in certain agencies were doing behind closed doors, which is the way this president is behaving. And that's the law. Freedom of Information Act is the law today.
It's important.
So we need to have transparency. The people need to, as we've seen now, rise up. In the immigration battle, we see this just this weekend, whether it's women's rights, whether it's gay rights, whether it's immigration, whether it's reproductive health, environmental
everything.
poverty, people are rising up, and that's so refreshing, isn't it?
Yes, it is, definitely. All right, Liz.
So thank you, Ron.
Let's remember Bella.
Let's remember
Let's
Bella
be
and what she
inspired
said.
by her.
And
Right.
what she said, never fail to tell the truth, never give in, and never give up. Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you very much. We at CUNY TV always like to hear from our viewers. So if you have any subjects you'd like to explore or people you'd like to hear, please let us know. Write to us at CUNY TV, 365 Fifth Avenue, New York, New York, 10016, or go to our website, cuny.tv, and click on Contact Us. We look forward to hearing from you.